Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of Bird, Nick, and with me, we have Mr. Jonathan. How you doing?
Yeah, baby. What's going on?
Not much. How are you this morning?
Doing great.
Good. So today, Mr. Jonathan's been nice enough to take some time out of his schedule so that I have somebody to talk to. And
I was working on my lawnmower. I bought a new lawnmower. It's my very first new lawnmower. I've had 4 other mowers. They were all used, and I started getting really good at turning wrenches on lawnmowers, but I got sick of it. So I bit the bullet and I bought a new one. And of course, after I've mowed the lawn once, I realize I need the mulching kit, which means turning a wrench on the new mower. And this morning, I was almost late to get here to the podcast because I was tempted to go to Walmart and buy a new socket set because I need a 15/16 socket and I don't have one.
My God. I mean, you could have been because I was running a few minutes behind too, so it all worked out.
Well, you're always running a few minutes behind. So I thought, you know what? I could be up to 20 minutes late and still beat him to his own podcast.
That's true.
But I didn't want to be rude just in case the stars aligned and you were actually on time.
No, I had to take my son to school. And then, like I was telling you, the train track was being worked on and this and that and whatever. Say, you had time to go to Walmart for a socket. But anyway, so today, what are you smoking? You're smoking the special one, aren't you? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, there we go.
You've got the JFR Lunatic.
Yeah, JFR Lunatic, Lunatic El Loco Firecracker. It's 3.5 by 50. It has a Corojo 99 binder. Corojo 99 wrapper. It has a combination double binder of Criollo 99 and Corojo 99, Criollo 98, and those are also the fillers. It's put together by the folks at Aganorsa for the folks at United Cigars.
Fantastic. And then I have the new United Connecticut Firecracker that they came out with this year. And I've personally smoked this one other time before, but I don't think I've done it on the show. So
yeah, the Connecticut was actually way better than I expected it to be. And I had smoked some samples from different manufacturers throughout the years. Everybody wants to try to do a firecracker for us. And in smoking that one as the sample, it was very good. And they actually made it better for the regular release.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to firing this guy up. So let's go ahead and cut the cigars. And the official cut is this will be fun with you. It's brought to you by twoguyscigars.com. That's the number 2, guyscigars.com. 2 Guys have been around for 40 years, and they are the trusted name in the cigar industry. By the way, I got the ad copy straight from Dave. So the 40 years, he rounded up. Just want that noted.
That's called Dave math.
Want that noted. Everybody knows 2 Guys, but if you don't, please give them a try. You won't be sorry. Family owned and operated. 2guyscigars.com does the very best to provide a great selection, fair prices, and awesome customer service. What more could you possibly want from a website? Please go to 2guyscigars.com for your next cigar purchase and tell them the Cigar Pulpit sent you. That's the number 2, guyscigars.com. And with that, it's time to go ahead and cut the cigar.
Damn it. I always miss the cut. I always miss the noise.
It's different this time, but that's okay. So, yeah. Yeah, no, you guys, I wondered if you had anything to throw in on that, but.
Well, you and I had talked off the air about the possibility of that commercial happening. I didn't know if it did. So obviously you and Dave got together,
we did
email or text or something and got that squared away, which is awesome.
We made it happen. And
your podcast is already Cigar Authority Light. And
We might as
now
well be
it's
branded by
you may
you
as well be branded by us. I mean, it's only a matter of time before we just buy you out.
Well, see, you know what's funny is I already have Justo saying that he wants to start playing the kazoo commercial on my show.
As you
I'm
should.
not even freaking joking. Apparently, he gets people mentioning the kazoo commercial at like events and stuff, and he's been telling Trey Mac, "Hey, we need to get that kazoo commercial on the Cigar Pulpit."
Well,
So
you just
I
sounded
may,
like
I maybe
that.
I did Trey Mac's version of Justo. So in all
Gotcha.
fairness, yeah,
It sounded like Danny Trejo.
Oh no, trust you want to hear Trey Mac doing his Justo. It's classic. But anyway, but the point is, yeah, I might be hitting you up for that audio file at some point because what the
Yeah.
advertiser wants, the
Ed
advertiser
Sullivan
gets.
is going to hear this and he's going to just send it to you. So you'll be all set.
Anyway,
I got a shout out. I got you a new listener.
Hey, that's cool.
His name is Matt DJ Fuji. He's a very good friend of mine. He recently
DJ
got into
Fuji.
cigars. Yeah, I've known him since high school, and we've DJ'd together numerous times. Opened for each other at different events that we were doing, and he texted me the other day and said, "How come you never told me how awesome cigars are?" And I'm like, "Dude, I've smoked a cigar every time we've DJ'd together on the way into the party and on the way back from the party. So, and you know that." And he goes, "I just thought that it was like cigarettes and this whole thing." And he's starting to consume a lot of content about cigars, including the Cigar Authority. So I told him I was going to be on. I'll send him the link when it comes out.
Well, there we go. Perfect. Well, hello to DJ Fuji. That's a fun name. I like DJ Fuji.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. He's also a graphic designer. So anytime I'm doing a flyer and I want to know, what the real skinny is, I send it to him and he sends it back with notes.
Okay. There you go. So before we get into the main topic at hand, I did want to address a listener question that I received. And I thought that, like I said, you might be the man to ask. So I received a text message and listener writes, "I spoke with my neighbor this morning and we got onto cigars. He said his all-time favorite is a Cuban Cohiba. He asked if you might know of a comparable alternative he can actually get since Cubans can't be gotten."
Not an easy thing necessarily to be able to match up to. And really it's because to be able to get to the flavor that you get from an authentic Cohiba out of Cuba, you would have to have tobacco that's only 11 months old. And most manufacturers are aging their tobacco for no less than 3 years. So, yes,
I knew you'd have opinion.
I can get you close to what the flavor should be if that tobacco were worked properly and were brought to its full flavor potential. So you have a couple of options. You have something like Garofalo Sungrown, any size in the Garofalo Sungrown La
Could
Familia.
They potentially roll what you're suggesting in some cat piss to get the ammonia that they want?
You could store it in your litter box and use the urine as your humidifier in the clay kitty litter.
Mm-hmm.
Aganorsa, also any Aganorsa product, which this firecracker is a reasonable facsimile.
Indeed.
You have the seed varietal of a hybridized Corojo, which they used Corojo seeds. In fact, Corojo is named after El Corojo, Cuba, at 23 degrees north and 83 degrees west. Those are the geographical coordinates for El Corojo, Cuba, in Cuba. So anything that has Corojo 99 that has the 3 years of working and fermentation, you're going to get a similar flavor to what Cuba should be. And also, speaking of 2283, there's a brand out there put out by Jesus Fuego, 2283, or 23 degrees north by 83 degrees west is the actual name. And that is a 5-country Corojo blend, some authentic Corojo and some hybridized Corojo. and that has a very old school Cuban-esque kind of flavor and complexity to it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, see, there we go. I thought I was going to end up getting a all those Cuban cigars are the same. They just put a different band on it. You can find whatever you can find and it'd be fine. Kind of
Yeah,
answer.
they are. They are all the
Well,
same.
yeah.
But if you want a cigar you can actually get in the United States and pay a reasonable price for it. I mean,
Yeah.
Justo puts out a hell of a product. His regular stock Corojo is the original Corojo seeds, and he does an unbelievable job with those blends. The only thing is, it's about 30 times better than its Cuban counterpart, and it's about 20 times cheaper.
There you go.
So if you want to not spend all that much money and get something that's exceptional, you could go with any of Justo's Corojo lines.
There you go.
All right, plugged an advertiser for you.
There you go. Well, and I was going to say that was one that Ed Sullivan had recommended was the Aladino. So, it works out. I did check with Ed Sullivan too. So, because why not?
Yeah, I'm a little behind.
I gotta go. Well, no, I mean, I'm not saying on the show. This is I checked with him over the weekend. I got this question over the weekend. So you're the first one on the show to actually ask. Now I do have a life question that I'm going to ask you too, because I can do that before or after we talk to the main subject. You know what? Let's get to the main subject. So as I have told my listeners, I have purchased a home. I am under contract and I'm looking at moving in July. And so before I get my outbuilding put together, I will be probably utilizing the garage for smoking purposes. It has a window off the back. It has a door off the back. And then obviously the garage door. But one of the things that I wanted to touch on was properly ventilating, whatever room you're using. How do you smoke indoors at your house without worrying about, that smoke permeating the house and getting everywhere and getting all up in your stuff?
All right. So this is the easiest thing to be able to work on. So let's say you are just going to smoke in your living room and you don't want to get caught. Be careful with your ash, because ash is the thing that stinks, not the smoke. So the smoke builds up so slowly on things that like painted ceilings, painted walls, even drapes. It builds up so slowly that you would have to have 30 people smoking in the room for a year before that room would be so tainted that you would just know that someone smoked in there. So
Gotcha.
one time smoking in your house because it's raining out, not the end of the world. I've done it a million times, even when I was married. Never a problem. Never stunk the next day. No issue. Now, as far as you don't want to get caught an hour later by the wife, you need to create yourself a negative pressure in that room. So it works just like getting heat out of a room. So a lot of people would think, oh, I can cool a room down quickly. Well, you get the smoke out the same way. You create negative pressure, meaning you set up a fan that is pulling air out, and you sit by that fan, but you need to have a window or a door open in another room so that the fresh air can come in, and you create this movement of air through the space that is going out through that fan. Now, the other thing that I did recently was I installed a whole house fan. So I built a cap for my pull down for the attic, and I bought a fan specific for that space, and it pulls everything up and everything goes out the ridge vent. So now if my roommate's not home, I can just turn that on and smoke anywhere on the first floor, and goodbye smoke, goodbye smell, no problem. So everything is predicated on where are you moving the smoke to? What is the prevailing wind on your property? You don't want to try to have the fan fighting against that. So you open up the window. I would open up the windows first and see if you get a breeze in a certain direction, and then set the fan up to encourage that breeze to continue.
Okay. So let's just say for descriptive purposes, example purposes here. So my garage at this new house is the front of it's going to be facing the south. The back of it will be facing the north. The window and the back door leading to the backyard obviously is on the north end of this garage, with the garage door on the south end. What you're saying is, let's say I had a box fan, and I set it up in the window, crack that garage door, a little bit, or get the garage door open slightly. Between that and the fan pulling outward or pushing outward from the window, that should be plenty to draw all that smoke out of the garage.
And even more than that, because it's a garage, you can smoke in there. Just have the garage door open and smoke. Make sure you clean up your ashtray, and then about 10 minutes before you wrap everything up, get that garage door, get that window fan blowing, just so that when you open the door to your living space, that you don't have any residual smoke. So you just clear that space. In a garage, you don't have to continually clear it. That garage door is open enough that you're sitting in the shade. I have an air conditioner in my garage that's one of the stand-up units that leaks. The bottom leaks, so I can't use it in the house. But on the cement slab, it's fine. And on hot days, I'll turn that AC on so that it's blowing air conditioning on me. And I get 20 degrees cooler in the garage than it is outside the garage. And I just don't have any fans on. So the AC just kind of comes in and settles in that space. And the hot air stays outside and the smoke moves as smoke does. And when I'm done, I just run the fan to blow the smoke out and I'm done.
Fantastic. Well, see, I'm looking at like the little, like the sheds, that you can convert, make like an office space or something out of that and everything. And, obviously with those, a lot of times they're recommending for heating and cooling those wall mounted units, but obviously that's not going to help in terms of smoke removal. So for something like that, I'll need some sort of other.
Is a box fan.
Yeah.
The easiest thing. And especially if you can spend a couple of extra dollars and get the one that has the wings on it, so that you can cover the entire surface, so that the box fan's not creating a vortex in its own window. It's sealed off and it's sucking out. I've gone as far as to, in this room, before I did all the windows over, they were slider windows. So I built a unit that had a fan in it that was sealed off with plexiglass, and I would slide that as an insert into the window. It fit perfect. Okay. And then when I turned that on, that window was sealed. The fan wasn't creating its own vortex, and it would just suck the smoke out. And I'd open 3 windows on the other side. The wind blows from where I'm sitting. It blows from right to left.
Okay.
So my fan is over in that window over there right now, because it was friggin' 90 degrees in this room this morning before I sat down. I had to clear that heat out, which made me think of exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I opened the 3 windows that are on the side, and now the wind is blowing through this room and being sucked. The smoke and heat is being sucked out.
There you go. All right. Well, see, this is good. This is the kind of helpful information that people know or need to know, because, not all of us have the ability to sit in lounges and have a good time in safe smoking spaces. We have to create our own. So,
For sure.
Yeah. Now in terms of odor removal, do you have any sort of, obviously if the smoke is pulled out and you clean the ashtray, you're saying you're not going to have an odor issue, but like
there's no odor.
Okay.
So now, in the house, if the girl I'm seeing is coming over, she doesn't mind the cigar smell.
Yeah.
But when she gets in the car, I have the car ashtray open all the time.
Yeah.
It's my car. I don't really care that much if it smells a
I'm
little
the
bit like I
same
smoke.
way.
So if I know she's coming over, I have this balsam scented spray that I
Okay.
just spray on the carpet right near where the inlet for the AC is, and I run the AC for a couple minutes, and that'll clear things out, and it makes it smell like fresh pine bough has been thrown in the trunk, and that works really well.
Okay.
Pine's a fairly pleasant scent, and it's not polar. No one ever says, "Oh, I hate the smell of pine." Everybody likes it, so it's good.
Yeah, I thought about doing like a product review series of the different car things, because there's one specific to cigars. Like there's one that I remember from a couple years back called Whiff Out, and that worked out really well. I don't know if you guys
Yeah, we carry it.
You care? Okay.
Yeah,
I
Whiff Out's
mean,
a great product. You put a pinch of it in the carpet in the back seat,
yeah,
and every 2 weeks, just a pinch,
yeah.
and it's a game changer.
Oh, and I put some in the bottom of my actual car ashtray,
Mm.
and that helps out a lot too in terms of that ash smell. It just kind of keeps it tamped down. But there was a bomb that a guy at one of the cigar lounges here was telling me about. He was a cop, and for all the years that he was on the beat, he would smoke in a squad car, and he wasn't allowed to. I mean, city was like, no, you can't do that, blah blah blah, but he did it. And at the end of every shift, he would go to Walmart and he would get one of these like car bombs, and he'd set it off in there, and it would take the odor away. And on his last shift, he went out with his commander, and he fires up a cigar, and the guy's like, "You can't smoke in your car," and he's like, "I've been doing it my whole career, and you guys never knew." And they're like, okay. So they got one of the things, they set it off, and that was that, and nobody ever knew. And so I want to try with those too. I don't remember the exact name, but I can't imagine there's too many odor bombs available at Walmart
Probably not
for the cars that I can get confused. So I figure
Another
I'll check
trick
that
that
out.
I heard was get a neutral scented Lysol spray or even Febreze. It works better if you use something that is pressurized versus pump spray. You turn your
Okay.
AC unit or heat unit on high, and you just load that inlet up with
Oh,
this.
okay.
Now, it has to be a more neutral scent, not a strong scent, because you're going to have to live with this smell for a while.
Yeah.
So something more neutral or very light, and you just load up that inlet, and it cleans out the whole inside, and you just run your AC or heat for 10 minutes or so, let it dry out, and that cleans out all the bullshit on the inside of the car.
That makes a lot of sense, because I had a friend, this is back forever ago. He pranked another guy by putting deer scent in the thing to where every time he turned on the heat in the car, it just smells of fucking deer piss. It was unfortunate, but that makes sense. To your point, that makes a lot of sense.
That might be the most awesome thing I've heard.
There you go. Another one that is less time. Well, it doesn't hang around quite as long. Is if you take Oreo cookies and you put them cream side down, cover the windshield with Oreo cookies. That way, the natural inclination of somebody is to come out and just hit their windshield wipers, and try and do that. But when
I
that
thought you were
windshield,
working on a new smell mitigation. I'm like,
no,
where the
no,
fuck are you
no,
going with this?
car pranks.
Okay, we've moved on. We've
moved on. So, but the natural inclination is at the windshield wipers, but when that fluid hits the Oreo cream, which is nothing more than sugar and Crisco combined. I mean, that's really all that is. When that hits, it just becomes a paste. And now you're scraping Oreo cookies off that windshield for quite a while. So
yeah, you're never getting that off. You need crud cutter.
Exactly. So, okay, since we've moved on, I have another. I have a life question, a would you rather kind of question here for you. So, at about 12:30 in the morning, Saturday morning, Noah, he's been on the show before. Listener Noah, he sent a text to a little group chat that I'm in, and he admitted that he was drunk, but he offered up technically 3 scenarios, but I'm only going to give you 2 because the one was too obvious what the proper answer was. It was the third one. So I'm going to give you 2 scenarios. So follow with me. So option 1, you have to get married to a man of your choosing. You don't have to do anything sexual, and you don't even have to live with him if you don't want to. However, you do have to have a ceremony where you invite a minimum of 10 people, and you have to wear a dress. You don't have to ever mention that you're married, but if someone asks, you have to gush and say that you are and show a picture of your gay wedding with you in a dress. And you also have to go through an emotionally exhausting divorce a year later where you have to miss multiple days of work. So that's option 1. Option 2. Okay. Well, oh no, we'll get to the rationale here in a minute because, you know, I opted for number 3, which I'll say number 3, but like I said, number 3 is not on the table here. Now, option 2, you have to send a dick pic to 50 random people in your phone to be decided by another person. You can't acknowledge any replies unless they say something about their significant other, to which then you have to send another pic to the significant other.
Yeah, this guy definitely was drunk.
He was really drunk. Now, the third one, which this one I opted for, but it was fucked up. For 6 months, you have to go out to a restaurant of your choosing weekly, but you can't duplicate locations. And before every item you order, you have to start by saying, "Pay attention, you ugly bitch." And you have to completely ignore any response this might ignite. Now, I opted for number 3 because I figured that's the least life-changing.
Number 3, you just get yourself thrown out of the restaurant, or
exactly.
the waiter or waitress has a sense of humor and assumes you have Tourette's. So yeah, number 3 is the logical answer.
Or you're eating spit for 26 weeks.
Sure.
I mean, that's probably the least of your worries at that point, I suppose. But yeah. Now, let's take number 3 off the table. Number 1 and number 2.
Obviously, it's number 1.
They're both life-changing, but yes, obviously number one.
And
number 1 is
emotionally draining. It's not. It's fine.
I was gonna say, been there.
You're married to a dude that you're not acknowledging, and then you're unmarrying a dude that you're not acknowledging. Yeah, I'll take that. That's easy.
Now, see, I did ask him if the marriage has to be consummated in order to be legal, to which my out there was kind of going for an annulment, thinking that, you know, since we didn't, you know, we could go that way with it. But you know,
given
whatever.
this entirely too much thought, and everybody thought before this podcast that I was going to be the gay one.
See, here's my other thought. This is a fucking easy one. Number 1 is the answer, and the reason, you get to pick who the guy is, okay? Which means,
and why did you pick Jason Momoa?
I could pick Bezos. I could pick Elon Musk. I could pick some bajillionaire. And at that point in the divorce process,
you're a gold-digging whore is what you are.
Damn straight. I'm setting myself up for life with a 1-year marriage. And if all I have to do is acknowledge that marriage whenever anybody asks if I'm married, easy. Yep.
You're a whore.
You know, in this case, going that example, yeah, I'm going
just
with
the fact that your mind went there. You're automatically a whore forever.
In all fairness, Teddy is the one that went there first because he wanted to marry The Rock, but that's what got me thinking about it. And once I realized that was an option, you know, I figured
The Rock is a good choice.
That was the way. Mm-hmm.
Although he's a little vanilla. His interview on Rogan, I shut it off after a couple of hours. I was hoping it was going to get better, and it never did.
You know, he's too, I don't know. He's too sanitized. His brand is bigger than he is now. So where he has to protect the brand. And once 100%. You do that, then you get boring. So
yeah, he just repeated every single answer that Rogan gave. He gave no new information. He just was white bread.
I mean, The Rock circa like 1998 would have been a much better interview than The 100%. Rock 2024. So, yeah. Okay. Well, so you'd go with number 1, I
Yeah,
mean,
you have to. You have to
are
go
you
number one.
are you who do you have? I mean,
No,
like,
it's got to
what's your
be someone hot. It's got to be like a Jason Momoa. It's got to be the guy from Reacher or John Cena. It's got to be somebody that's like you can show a picture and be like, "That's what I
I did.
landed."
But
Because you
see,
got to
you're just
gush. You got
and
to
you're not.
gush.
You do have to gush. You do have to gush. But I mean, my God, I could gush over Jeff Bezos if I knew that at the end of it I was going to be
You would
walking
never
away with
see him.
half of the Amazon fortune. You know.
There'd be some sort of
Well, it'd be a
prenup. You think
quarter
you're
because
smarter than Jeff Bezos? Come on.
it'd be a quarter because let's be real, his first wife got the half. So
He's made that back and then some.
I
He
mean,
gave her half and he was still the richest man in the world at the time. Now
maybe I could
Elon
like
is because of his holdings, but
maybe I could go up into space in one of those penis rockets. Just saying, it's
make
an
the rocket
option.
pointier.
Oh God, how's your JFR Lunatic Firecracker
Man, I'll tell you, we're coming up on, well, you were late, so 30 minutes.
there?
And I'm about halfway there, a little bit less than halfway. I get about an hour out of these, which most of the firecrackers I buy them because I like them. You know, the brands that I like,
Yeah.
and I buy them so I can pull them out later and just have a little taste once in a while. And I'll usually get 2 boxes, or if I really, in this one I liked it a lot, so I got 3 boxes, one to smoke now and 2 to put away, and I'll crack into those years from now. But this one is definitely the longest smoking of all of them.
Okay. Now that one just recently hit, and was released. Now is that one still available or is that one sold out already?
There may be a handful of boxes on twoguycigars.com. I know I have maybe 8 boxes left. I ordered another 15 or so. So my total was I ended up with in the 50s. And honestly, I'm probably buying a 4th box because they're
Okay.
just sitting there talking to me. And then I can smoke 2 boxes now and save 2 for later, which is very good.
I really like the JFR Lunatics, so I would imagine that the firecrackers are a good little smoke.
It smokes better and longer than the cigar it was modeled after, which is the JFR Lunatic Short Robusto.
Okay.
So it smokes longer and you have the same flavor. And therefore, that's why I'm saying longer and better. You have that flavor for an additional 20 minutes. It's just packed with tobacco. You do have to get past, there is a little bit of a pull to the draw. It's not tight,
Okay.
but there's a little bit of a pull because it's so packed with tobacco. And I just have a feeling that they went for their balls because they made close to 22%, just about 22% of all the firecrackers, the limited edition firecrackers, came out of an Aganorsa facility.
Okay.
So the one that they put their name on, they flexed a little bit on this.
Really wanted to make it good. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, I listened to the episode where you guys, unveiled that and obviously had I'm blanking on the gentleman's name and his son. Son's name was Max, I thought, right?
Yeah, it's Max and Eduardo Fernandez.
Eduardo Fernandez, yes. And I just remember that because that's my son's name. But they were talking about, you guys were talking about all the different ones that had come out of their facilities. And I think the idea of doing another Aganorsa, like a rare leaf or a supreme leaf, kind of firecracker, that could be fun.
The rare leaf would be dope. Oh, it would be sick. We'd have to charge more though. That's an expensive cigar for their portfolio.
Well, maybe that's one that you guys do that's not necessarily like a 4th of July release, but I know that you guys release firecrackers, or United releases firecrackers at other times of the year, kind of special projects and things of that nature. Maybe that's one that they release as a special project and say, hey, it's a little more expensive, but look at what you're getting, kind of thing.
That's possible. It is possible.
I mean, people would buy it. People would buy it.
Yeah, you could the thing about firecracker that sort of plays to itself well is the scarcity factor, where there's a finite number of boxes. It's not, we're not making more of them.
Yeah.
The only exception to that was Perdomo, and that was he decided to make 500 more boxes and
And you guys weren't going to say no.
said to Dave, I made you 500 more, and here's the plan on how I want to release it. And Dave said, all right, I'm in.
I still
But
have the
that was,
bulk of my box from the first run of those.
yeah, I got 2 of the first run and 2 of the second run, and smoked through probably a total of a box. So I have 3 left, I think.
I have that box, and then I have a box of the it was the Wise Man, but I think it was the second release of the Wise Man.
You should get yourself a box of these and just, I'll take care of
I
you over the
know.
phone, and I can
I
hold
know.
it for you till you come up for the expo.
I should do that. I'm also spending a lot of money right now. We'll see.
No pressure.
I'll see what I can do. What now? A box is running what?
140. Yeah, 139.99.
That's not bad because it's a box of what? 20, 25?
It's a box 20. It drops the
20.
cigar down to about $7.
Okay. No, I thought. Oh wait, I'm thinking of the firecrackers I'm smoking because I remember you had to do the math, and I, for whatever reason, $5.12 after doing the math is in my head as the stick price doing that.
Yeah,
That way.
those are box 25. So you more cigars and a better discount on the box itself.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
well,
somebody wrote into the show, and it won't make it on the air. The guy was a little like jabby. He was really trying to poke the bear, and I can't reward that type of behavior.
All of your email writers are a little jabby at times.
Yeah, but there's some of them that just get it and they're being funny. And this guy was not being funny. He was being too much of a dick
little
for me
jabby.
to reward the behavior. So
okay.
He wanted to know why the pricing was the way it was on these, and there was some retailer somewhere that sells online that they were $5 less than on twoguyscigars.com. And
for what?
For the firecracker, the JFR Lunatic.
Oh, so really? Okay.
It was $5 a box less. And the reality is we are a high volume store, and we've done our own studies, and we've also read studies on pricing. So the difference between $134.99 and $139.99 is the $139.99 price point will sell faster because the consumer is already rounding up to it's 140. They're already rounding up. So if they round up and then they have to take away the $5, they don't pull the trigger for some reason as readily. So we priced it to move and hit that magic price point spot. Whereas the person that only got, say, 6 boxes and they have a website presence and they're offering it or letting their customers know that they have it in the store, the $5 did not make that box sell faster. It made it sell slower. So we priced it to move is the real answer of why the pricing is the way it is. And we agonize over all of that all the time. There's meetings upon meetings upon meetings of best practices, and we hire experts, and that's where it boiled down to. So that it's not Dave's trying to make an extra $5. He doesn't care about the $5. He cares about selling 500 boxes as fast as humanly possible.
Well, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, and I'm not like taking a side one way or the other, but I am sitting here thinking it's $5 freaking.
It's 25 cents a cigar, man.
I mean, dude,
if
it were like $25 cheaper, that's one thing. But we're talking $5.
That would get outside the allowable discount from United. So United doesn't allow deep discounting online. And that's the other thing is, do you want to be sort of seen as selling something for cheaper just because you were the person who had it made? That's another kind of mindset of, all right, if somebody else wants to do a little bit of a discount deeper to move some more boxes, that's fine. But it's you price it to move.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I don't I don't. No offense to your letter writer, but I'm not sure I would have fired off an email over $5. But whatever. I
Yeah,
guess.
it wasn't something I wanted to get into because I replied and it was one of those replies back of, yeah, I knew this is how it was going to go.
Yeah.
Like, all right, yeah, you predicted it. You predicted you weren't going to get read on the show, but I responded, and then you predicted in your own mind without saying it out loud that this was how the response was going to be. Okay, you're smarter than I am.
Okay.
You
Move.
get the W.
Oh my God. All right. Well, hey, what is it they say? You can't please everybody all of the time.
You can't.
So, it's one of those things that not everybody's going to be happy. So, well, let's move on and do this. It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by Villiger. Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family owned and operated. Head over to villigercigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. You're a much slower smoker than I am. I'm down to very little of my
it's
of my
not even
Connecticut.
that. I think I probably smoke faster than you. It's this smoke so slow.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I'm down to very little of my
But I have a whole
left.
box of them, so I can just light another one if I need to.
Well, see, and I have the sun-grown version of this sitting right here too, so I can move on to that.
Could be a
But
4 firecracker show.
well, I only brought out 2, but I also did bring out a Perla Del Mar just in case, So I guess it could be whatever. But anyway, so Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report. What have you always come up with something interesting here?
Well, this will probably be no exception. So I'm seeing a beautiful young lady by the name of Sonia. And hi, Sonia. She'll listen to the show. And
hi, Sonia.
So she has her business is that
does she have red hair?
No. She boards dogs.
I was gonna call her Red Sonia, but anyway. Okay.
She boards dogs and she trains dogs. So one of the things to keep the dogs calm while they're in the kennel and where someplace else is she puts on the TV. So she likes Friends, and that's playing in the background. And I find myself standing there watching episode after episode of Friends while I'm eating lunch or dinner or whatever happens to be going on. So that's one of the things I've been watching. And the other one is Home Improvement has started releasing their 10-minute segments between commercial breaks on Facebook. So it shows up on my reels.
10-minute segments between commercial breaks.
Yeah. So they would do 3 commercial breaks. So they'd have 7 to 10 minutes. So they do the intro of the show, and then it's maybe a 7-minute little short. Then they go to commercial break. They come back with another 7 minutes, and each 7 minutes kind of stands on its own with its own life lesson, if you will, because that's kind of what that show is about. So I've been watching the shit out of that, and I forgot how fucking funny that show is.
It's a good show.
Home Improvement with Tim Allen. And the other thing is we decided together as a couple that we needed a couple show.
Oh boy.
Because
you can't jump ahead on her.
No, I can't. But we both like to kind of chill out at the end of the day and watch something, but we both fall asleep so early because we both are early risers. So we're watching the same movie over and over again, trying to figure out where we fell asleep. And it just was a lost cause. So we decided to watch Reacher season 2. We both had seen season 1. So we've been watching Reacher season 2. And that's my Villiger Entertainment Report for this episode.
I haven't watched Reacher yet. It's on my list. I've heard good things.
Fucking great.
But I haven't watched it yet. So obviously with having my son this weekend, I watch my typical, Clifford the Big Red Dog and Thomas the Tank Engine and all that fun stuff. However, I've been watching
what is he gonna watch?
Well, yeah, I know, yeah, Lord knows. I actually have been watching I've downloaded the app and I've been watching old episodes of like this old house just because I don't know. I'm in that
With Bob
mindset
Vila?
right now. Some, but like some have been more the recent ones with I don't remember the guy's name.
Me
But
neither. Not
the
we'll call
one
him not Bob Vila.
but the show I desperately want to find, and I think it's in the paid version of the This Old House app, and I think I have to pay for it, and I'm not going to do that. Is the new Yankee Workshop? You remember that show
Oh yeah.
with Norm or whatever the fuck his name was?
Yep.
That dude. I mean, I remember watching that as a kid and just being just so fascinated and enamored by the fact that this guy starts a project with just pieces of lumber, and by the end of it he's got this like elaborate table or chairs or whatever else, and we're going to make the dado and all these different words that I have no idea what the hell any of them are, and he's just doing this shit. Now granted, I guess maybe I could do it without, I mean, not well, with practice, but and I'd probably take a fingertip off or two. But if I had like $1 million workshop like that guy does, but still it's impressive as hell watching that guy do that shit.
Yeah, I built my kitchen table and the benches around it because when I bought the house, everybody had furniture to give me. So I bought the house, I had nothing but a bed in my bedroom.
Okay. Okay.
And I had a couple of shitty bureaus that didn't match. And so somebody gave me a bedroom set and someone gave me 2 bedroom sets. And so now I have 4 beds in a 3 bedroom house. And I got this massive kitchen table that is really a banquet table with ornate chairs. And it was too fucking big. I tried putting it everywhere. It just was too big. So
That's
I
what
built,
she said.
right.
Sorry. I kind of had to. Anyway.
I built my kitchen table and benches so that the benches could slide under the table. And now I only have this 4 by 8 foot table, and the benches fit right underneath, and it's convenient and not all that comfortable. So that when
Yeah.
I have guests over for dinner, they don't stay for very long. They eat and kind of get up, and either we transition to the fire pit or they leave. So that was the design behind it. But what an enriching thing to make your own furniture.
I would think so. I would think so. My grandpa was a carpenter, and I have a bookcase that he made, and right now it's in storage. However, once I empty out the storage units, it'll be out and on display, and I'm looking forward to that because it's a nice small bookcase with a glass door and everything. But it's just one of those things, man. That handcrafted furniture lasts so much longer than this put together IKEA bullshit.
Yeah, you put the IKEA furniture together, you find a home for it, it better stay there forever because as soon as you move it, you're popping
Mhm.
screws, you're losing stuff. Then you got to glue and clamp. It sucks.
Now, are you still using your kitchen as your living room space?
You mean my lichen? Yes,
Your lichen?
yes. It was a big hit. I just threw a big party. I had over 40 people here,
Oh
and
wow,
it was a nice day where we could have all the windows open and all the doors open. And so the kitchen became a place where people gathered to just hang out and enjoy the company of others.
well, I find that
And
that
they
happens naturally, you
sure.
know,
I
but
mean, people were everywhere. We had a fire pit going outside. We had a band playing. My brother plays in a band. He brought extra instruments. Several people that I invited play instruments. So people jumped on the keyboard or they jumped behind the drums. And we just had it was like a concert. Some of these guys, one guy was a saxophone player. Makes his living as a sax player and just crushed it, brought the
nice,
house down. But
nice.
people were blown away that half the people smoke cigars, half the people are part of my dance crew or friends and family that don't smoke. And they couldn't believe that I was allowing people to walk through the house with lit cigars or that I myself was lighting up in the kitchen. And I'm like, yeah, if you don't like it, you can go outside. You're not stuck.
Exactly.
You're not stuck here. And if something is bothering you, I recommend that you do go to a place where someone isn't smoking, because smokers are not second-class citizens in my house. They are first-class citizens, and you can move yourself to where you're comfortable, is just what I said to everybody. Nobody had a problem, though. I mean, the house was ventilated properly. I had my fans set up. It was good.
There you go. Well, cool. Um, Otherwise, I have. So you're talking about the Facebook Reels and seeing stuff that way. One of the things that I discovered through the mostly Instagram Reels has been this podcast called Bad Friends with Bobby Lee and Andrew. I think it's Santino.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
holy shit, I've been listening to, I've been actually listening to their podcast, but I've gone back and listened to old ones just because, you know, they come out, I think, weekly or something like that. And damn, you know, the reels are funny, but the shows themselves have been just absolutely hilarious. I mean, they had on David Spade on one episode, and just, I mean, there's been so many great funny bits that they've done. And like I said, the reels are good, but the whole show is you know, in its entirety, you get the context that you're missing from the reels, and I've been really digging that one. So
Nice.
kind of a nice little turn off the brain and just kind of listen to something funny, you know, for a while. But
Love it.
um otherwise, that's kind of been it. I have not been um watching as much lately. I've just been so damn busy. But and July is shaping up super busy, but you know, we'll make it work. It'll be fine. I did see Inside Out too. I talked about that on I think the last episode a little bit, which I don't know. I was really impressed with that movie.
I'm not
Just
familiar with the Inside Out or Inside Out 2.
so the concept is you have these five little characters and they represent emotions. So there's joy, fear,
Loathing.
anger, sadness, and I'm trying to remember the last one. But anyway, and the concept is that they're inside of this little girl's head, and so you're getting kind of the inside of her mind, kind of how she's processing emotions and everything else. Well, in this newest one, the little girl hits puberty, and so now it brings in anxiety and embarrassment and boredom and envy. I think it's envy, and kind of how she as a human has to start processing these new emotions and learning to live with anxiety, and how she has to process her anxiety and find a way to incorporate her anxiety but not let her anxiety take her over, and you know, and all this kind of stuff. Fucking great movie. I mean, it's a super great movie, and I think anybody with kids needs to consider that. I've actually talked with a few people that have kids that have seen it, and they're raving about, you know, kind of the lessons that their kids are taking away from it. So, you know, score one for Disney. It was a good movie.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
And Disney put it out.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the thing. It wasn't super woke. It wasn't super, you know, filled with all kinds of like messaging and everything. It just was what it was. It was a good, you know, Disney Pixar movie. So
I just cannot stand, and I cannot get behind this woke bullshit. It
I
really,
know.
I think the world needs to just look and say, are you a good person or are you a bad person? And you know what? Sometimes bad people do good things, and sometimes good people do bad things. And if that's how we looked at it, and we looked at people when they do bad things, what is the reason behind their bad thing? What is the reason behind their hatred? What is the reason behind their annoyance? What happened to them? If we just got into people's lives and what makes them tick, wouldn't the world be so much better off than saying, okay, we have to include this group of people in the movie, otherwise we're doing a bad thing. Well, maybe
Well,
not.
yeah. No, I agree. I don't think we should be checking boxes. And that's what it really boils down to is like, oh, you know, we've got a group of friends in this. But well, Friends, that's a good example. There's been a lot of blowback on Friends because of how white it is. and you know that you know, it fat shames and this and that and whatever. And it's like, dude, it was the 90s, and that was just, it was what it was, you know? I mean, why do we have to apply 2024 sensibilities to a show that was, you know, from the 90s?
And look at the
it's
Cosby Show
fine.
from the 80s. The Cosby Show had almost no white characters,
Yeah.
almost no. And when they had a white character, they sort of dumbed down the white person so that the black people seemed smarter. And listen, they were smart. Doctor and a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yes, they were smarter than most of the people. Got it. But no one said anything back then about, oh, how come there's no white people on the show? And he was a serial rapist, allegedly.
Allegedly. Well, no,
But
he was
but
convicted.
somebody
We
somebody
we don't have to say allegedly for Bill Cosby. He was
fair
convicted.
enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. But that's somebody that was doing bad things and put out a show that was wholesome, that was consumed by a mostly white audience.
Yep. No, it's
Not a
true.
problem. Not a
So
problem.
okay, going back to what you were talking about, good people do bad things, bad people do good things. Let me ask a like quandary here. So I was actually having this conversation with somebody the other day. We were talking about people that do basically sexual predators with children. Now, I take the stance that if it's proven, if you have done something to a child, I have no tolerance whatsoever. I don't care why, you know, whatever. I don't want to house these people. I don't want to feed these people. I want to put them down like an animal in the street.
Sure.
Like, I have no tolerance for anybody that abuses children.
Because it's been proven that they can't be rehabbed.
Exactly.
If they get out,
just,
they do it again.
So just put them down like an animal, call it a day, move on with life. For people that have been maybe caught in like a FBI sting, maybe they were, the FBI was impersonating like a 12-year-old online, and you know, this guy shows up with the intention of something, and but maybe is met with law enforcement and thus he doesn't actually go through with it, but maybe had the intention. Then I kind of like make the argument, okay, we'll give you the choice. You can either be put down like an animal, or we can chemically castrate you. And
Or
you know,
how about actually castrate?
either way. But the point is, you know, we kind of go at it that way. But then the question was posed to me: what if somebody has that desire, recognizes, has the forethought, the you know, frame of mind to recognize that it's not a proper thing to do, and manages to go their whole life never acting on that impulse? Does that make them a good person?
I guess.
And seeing that you just hit, you got to my point. I'm like, I guess. I mean, technically, they're, you know, you could make the argument they're a bad person because they're thinking about sexually abusing children. On the flip side,
How many
if they
times
never
have you
act on it, you
thought
know,
about
but
killing somebody and how you would dispose of the body and how much lime does it take? How deep does the hole have to be?
I mean, I make jokes, but I've never actually gone through the process of thinking about all those details.
Well, I have. So does that make
Okay.
me a bad person? I mean, I've thought
I
about it,
mean,
but I didn't do it.
you didn't do it.
And I think of myself as a good person, but in the thinking about it, it really becomes a puzzle that you're trying to solve.
Like, as in how to do it.
Yeah, not necessarily. It's less for me about the actual murder. I don't know that I could kill someone, but if I ended up with a body that I had to dispose of,
Yeah.
could I do it? What, how does that happen? So I've thought about it.
Okay. I don't know how I would end up with a body that I had to dispose of, where I wasn't the one that caused the death.
Well, if I
But
if I had a family member approach me and say, "I have this body,"
yeah, okay. You
I'm
you know,
in.
you gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm in.
Oh oh, this is going to be played in court one day. I just had this feeling it's going to be evidence. I don't know. But see, to your point, I can, and maybe it's fucked up of me. Maybe we're revealing how fucked up we actually are. I can excuse that more than I can excuse somebody doing something to children.
Of course.
I mean, obviously, so that's the thing. It's like I keep going back to that question of like, if somebody has the desire for kids but never acts on it, does that make them a bad person? And I guess in that case, I guess it would be you're a bad person that did a good thing.
Could be. Or you just have potential bad.
Yeah, I guess we all have some potential bad.
There's always the you notice that somebody didn't scan something at the grocery store. Do you tell them yes is the right answer? But if you didn't, does that make you a bad person? You might be still a good person who did something bad. But making the justification for, oh, it's a billion-dollar company and they're not going to notice, you're just justifying bad behavior.
Yeah.
And I find that I sleep better by doing the right thing by everybody, whether they deserve it or not. And this is why I don't kill people.
That's why you don't kill people.
Right. That's why.
I don't like mess. I feel like it would be messy. I can't think of a way that could go down where it doesn't result in some sort of a mess. And I just don't want to mess with the mess.
Yeah, because even if you could do it by asphyxiation, you could remove the oxygen from a room and make them just go to sleep and die, or carbon monoxide poisoning.
They're still going to shit themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The shitting and the pissing is the part that you gotta.
Yeah.
It's bad.
No, I just don't. Yeah, I don't want to mess with the mess. I don't know. I have a fucked up story, but I'm going to leave it alone.
Well, I have a friend that was in close proximity to somebody passing away of a heart attack, and within 30 minutes, they were able to pick up the body and all that. Maybe 45 minutes, and in that time, there was enough of a mess that needed to be picked up that there was gagging and vomiting from just the stuff that comes out of a dead body.
See, that's the thing. That's why when I hear people say like, "Oh, I want to die while having sex," first of all, that's beyond fucked up for the other person. I mean, look, would I like to maybe go that way? Hell yeah, that'd be a fun way to go. But on the flip side, how are you traumatizing that poor lady who's with you? That's messed up. And then there's the mess that comes along with that. And I just, no.
Spend the extra $65 at Walmart and get yourself a good mattress cover in case it happens. That way someone can enjoy your bed afterward and there's no essence of you.
Oh God, though. Do you want to be, sleeping on the bed that some dude died having sex on?
Well, I did. One of the beds that I got out of college, I was staying with somebody and I had a shitty mattress that was on the floor. I didn't have a bed frame or anything, and I took the bed that the guy died in across the way. It was offered to me.
Shit.
And I took it.
Deathbed.
It had a mattress cover, so there was no dead guy stuff.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I kind of feel like that permeates. Maybe not.
Didn't smell bad or anything. I mean,
That's good.
It was good.
Okay. All right. Well,
there we go. Just refer to it as the dead guy bed.
The dead guy bed. Okay. All right. Well, let's do this.
Guess what, motherfucker?
It's time for 3 cigars we smoked and enjoyed this week. And I'm moving on from dead guy bed. So what have you smoked and enjoyed this week that you want to highlight?
Well, as you know, the Cigar Authority picked McAuliffe Black Toro as Cigar of the Year.
Indeed.
I'm smoking 2 or 3 of those a day. I also we we're always doing new programs with the staff, and one of the programs that we have is um, that the staff gets a much bigger discount if they show up 15 minutes before the shift, and the
Oh,
transaction can happen before the that 15 minutes happens, time stamped on the receipt. So it's to encourage the staff to bounce around the different products in the store that are better for the store. Some of them are exclusive to us, some of them are United brands, but they're better cigars for the store to carry and better cigars for the store to sell. And one of
okay.
the ones that I was pleasantly surprised with that I normally wouldn't go to because I don't smoke a lot of Maduro is Garofalo La Familia Maduro in the Epicure size. Mostly I smoke Robusto, but in the spirit of the program, trying to bounce around different sizes and different wrappers in the different portfolios, I came across that and said, you know what, this is what I'm going to smoke today. And wow, is it fucking good. The last
Okay.
time I smoked it was when it came out. We may have smoked it on the show too, and I just forgot about it, and it's so good.
I don't know if I've ever smoked the Maduro in that. I know I've obviously smoked quite a few of the sun-grown, but I don't know if I've ever actually smoked the Maduro in that.
I might like the Maduro better than the Sungrown.
No shit.
Yeah.
I'll be damned. All right.
And
I'll have
the
to.
other one is these guys are starting to make a little bit of a splash, and I've sold out of them twice, probably because I like them. But Crux, the company
Mm-hmm.
Crux, their new line called Epicure,
Yep.
and they have a Maduro that is chocolatey, it's sweet, it's delicious, it's well priced, and I've been smoking the shit out of that too.
I like Crux cigars. What I and I don't know, maybe it's just me. But you being in retail, you know, you I might have an opinion on this. Their marketing, their box coloring and everything. Fuck, it stands out in
Yeah,
that
it's
sea of
different.
brown,
It's
you
different.
know, all that
And
color and everything.
they have this program where inside the box is 10 singles, the box is 20, 10 singles and 2 5 packs. So we list where, and I've talked about this on the show, the silent salesman of listing the single price and the box price. But there's also a mid-tier break if you buy the 5 pack.
Yeah.
So if you're a cigar smoker that typically doesn't buy by the box, here's your other option. Instead of getting, say, 15% off by the box, you get 7.5% off when you buy by the 5 pack. So you still get your discount and you get maybe a couple more cigars than what you were thinking about getting, or 5 cigars of something that's the same instead of 5 that are all different because you get this break. It's kind of a genius thing to do. And I expect that to be copied by the rest of the cigar smoking world because this is a way of training somebody to buy in bulk in your product.
For sure.
So
For sure.
kind of genius on their part.
I really like their most. I think it's their most recent like core line edition. It was the Habano Epicure or the Epicure Habano,
Yeah.
the yellow banded one. Boy,
Yep.
I've smoked the shit out of that thing.
You got to try the Maduro, man.
All right, I
I
will
think it's
have to
better.
try
And I'm
them
a
again.
sun-grown guy. I don't typically
Yeah.
smoke Maduro. I'm a sun-grown guy, and it's just fire.
Okay.
They're Connecticut. For people that like Connecticut, would love the Connecticut. I'm not really a Connecticut smoker because I don't like the dryness of it, and I don't like the taste of Connecticut shade, whether it's Ecuador or out of Connecticut. But it burns well, it draws well, and I don't like it. So it's a good Connecticut. So anybody
Okay.
that likes Connecticut, you would love that, but it's just not my thing, and that kind of what tells me it's good.
Okay. All right. Well, my first one is one that I smoked while driving, and I fired up a Aladino vintage selection in the Rothschild, and that's one that I remember when it came out. I smoked a lot of them, and then since then it kind of fell off my radar. And I've been digging through the humidor, and I found a little pocket of them, and I really like that cigar. It's got that nice Habano wrapper to the Corojo binder and filler, and it's got that nice kind of spice to it and everything. I really dig that one.
Yeah, it's good. It's very good.
Little saltiness to it.
Yeah, it's like a salted pretzel almost.
Yeah,
Soft pretzel, not a hard pretzel.
super good. I dug it. Another one that I smoked that I have to actually credit the Cigar Authority show pack for introducing me to. And I found one in my travels. I didn't have a cigar, and I stopped off at this one liquor store. They had a small humidor, and I found this, and I remembered it from the show pack, and I dug it, and I smoked it, and enjoyed it this week. Was the Camacho Broadleaf. That one,
Yeah, they did a nice job of that.
dude, it smokes wonderfully, and it's got the nice amount of strength and everything to it for me. I mean, every once in a while when I pop by like Total Wine or something like that, I'll pick up what I want, but then, I'm looking around, I'm like, they get the Camachos, I might grab this, I might grab that. But then man, that broadleaf, that one smokes way better than some of the other ones that they've got out.
Yeah, that's one of the newer blends, and so the Davidoff's sort of blending strategy was created by Hendrik Kellner and then his protege Eladio Diaz, and both of them are no longer with the company. And so they have new people and they're doing their very best. It honestly looks like Davidoff's going to sell, is what it looks like on paper. But
Okay.
just by some of the moves they're making, that particular broadleaf made in their Honduran facility is the first new Camacho that really had a little bit of pop to it. The only thing I'm going to say is that the only Camacho that sells is the Connecticut. It's number 2 is the Corojo, which is what Camacho was known for back when the Aroas owned it. The broadleaf has a shot.
No, I mean, I dig the broadleaf more than any of the others. But well, then there we go. And then the last one is one that I smoked on the show with Pinky recently, and it was the Diamond Crown Maximus number 5. The fine folks at JC Newman were kind enough to send a little care package my way, and it included some of those. And I've had them before, but it's not one that I think to grab on the regular. And by God, I mean, I should. It's such a fine little smoke.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. So there we go. Anyway, so let's I guess now we'll talk fucking good coffee. And I know that you've had some fucking good coffee, maybe not today, but if you head on over to fuckinggoodcoffee.com, you can try all the different blends that Nick has over there. They're all designed to pair with cigars. However, the lounge blend is the one that he says pairs with everything, and you can get yourself some of that. I have some in my little mug here. I'm sitting out, and it's cooled off enough because it's too fucking hot to be drinking hot coffee, but it pairs nicely with these firecrackers. And you can give them a try. You can do it iced. You can do it, hot brewed, whatever, however you want it. But he's got something for every palate. He's got the light roast to the dark roast. So whatever kind of coffee you like, you can head on over to fuckinggoodcoffee.com and give that a try. So don't be a fucker. Drink fucking good.
So the thing about pairing is people will often sample something and try to pair it with cigars, and they'll say, okay, that didn't work. And they'll move on to another thing, and okay, that one worked. And I learned from the Michael Cappellini from Toscano that the order that you consume your items that you're pairing matters greatly.
Okay.
To Nick's point that it pairs with everything, it pairs with everything because if you change the order, whether you're smoking first and drinking second or vice versa, the order is what's going to matter to make the flavors. If you have complementary flavors, like your cigar is a little sweet and you have the bitter notes from the coffee, especially if you're drinking it black, the bitter notes from the coffee, those are going to complement each other and nothing's going to be taken away from the experience. But
Mhm.
sometimes you have, let's say with a dark roast, if you had that dark roast and you were smoking the Garofalo La Familia Maduro, which has a sweet kind of chocolatey component, those two, the order is going to matter because now you're going to have sweet on your palate from the smoke and you're going to have sweet on your palate from the coffee. Those sweets are going to cancel each other out to the degree that they exist. So if you're at a 6 sweetness in one and a 6 sweetness in another, you have no sweetness now. Now you're going to be tasting the next thing. If you puff first, the coffee you're going to taste without the sweetness. So now
Okay.
whatever the other notes are in the coffee are going to come forward. The same thing with the cigar. Maybe it's sweet and salty, but the sweet is so powerful that it covers up the salty. Now you take a sip of the coffee, you've got sweet on your palate. You take a puff of the cigar, the sweetness disappears, and now you can enjoy the salty component that is in there. So order of operations is super important when you're pairing anything with anything.
There we go. All right. See, and that the whole blend, the pairing, that's not it's not an area I've really like dived into in terms of figuring out, proper pairing. I just drink what I like to drink along with my cigar. But I know that obviously pairing is a big deal, especially when you get into not just coffees, but various types of spirits and things of that nature.
You end up with the things that pair the best are things that are not well balanced. So
Okay.
the example I'm going to use is the Grand Bouquet size of Byron 1850. It's a $65 cigar. It is not for everybody all the time. It is truly a cigar that you put aside for a celebration. That cigar does not pair well with anything because it is so perfectly balanced that I find drinking anything with it except water is it takes away from the experience of that perfect balance. Now you
Okay.
take, say, the McAuliffe Black. McAuliffe Black is not super balanced. It has some balance to it, but you have a little bit of sweet and a little bit of spice that's there. There's not a salty component that kind of rounds out the palate. So that pairs really well with a coffee that has a little bit more bitterness to it, which kind of rounds out all the flavors that you kind of want when you're smoking. So that's a great pairing cigar because, listen, at $8, you can't expect it to be perfect. At $65, it better be perfect. But at $8 in a non-tax state, the McAuliffe Black is a great cigar to experiment with pairing with other things.
Interesting. All right. That Byron, I'm sitting on one. That's the one that was in the show pack in December, I
I
believe,
believe
right?
it was, yes.
I'm still sitting on that one.
The
And
fuck are you waiting for?
that is going to be the first one I fire up on closing day
All right.
on the patio of my new house.
All right.
I figured out that's what that one's for.
I have an
So
Atabey Black that was gifted to me that I'm waiting until I finish this room. I still have to do the ceiling.
see,
And when I'm done the room, that's the one I'm smoking in here when it's done.
there you go. I want something really nice and special for that first one for that. And I figured, that's the one. So perfect. Well, in terms of the socials, I'm available on Instagram at the Cigar Pulpit. I'm available on Facebook with the Pulpit Parishioners group. You guys can get in on that. We're on Twitter/X, YouTube, where you can watch this. And I am taking calls again for the Ask the Pulpit. So you can get those calls in on the hotline at area code 863-874-0000. And there
And
is a 3-minute time limit to the messages.
if you need somebody to sit in on a show, that's the one I fucking love because I have most of the answers.
Really?
Just throwing it out there. I yell at the fucking show when I'm not on it.
You knew what color thong was Trey Mac's favorite?
I said most of the answers.
Okay. I was gonna say, I'm like,
what Trey Mac wears in the privacy of his own home is between him and God.
Okay, well, all right. So you've prompted a question here. So in the last one that I did, listener Dakota called in and he had a couple of bad experiences with some Habano cigars. Granted, I'm going to tell you what cigars they are, and you're going to be like, well, no fucking wonder he had bad experiences with them. One was a Remington that was made by Gurkha, and the other was one called a BDL, which the band looked just like LFD. So,
All right. So the BDL is I believe that one is a mixture of regular tobacco and there's a pinch of pipe tobacco in there. At least that's how it presents on my palate.
okay.
The issue is probably less about the manufacturer, which Gurkha is not a manufacturer. They are a brand owner, and they
Yeah.
have no less than 5 factories that they source their cigars through. They're a packaging company, so they order the elaborate packaging and then shop around to see who has the size cigar that'll fit in the packaging.
That makes a lot of sense because their
start with a
packaging is
blend.
really nice.
Right. They don't start with a blend that's anything. They start with packaging and then they don't care as long as it fits. And every factory has their, say, 12 sizes that they do well. And they already have the molds for. There's no extra anything to buy. You just supply them with bands and boxes and they do their thing. Most likely, the experience that he had was with more about the season changing than about the cigar itself. So
he was complaining about ammonia. He said that both of them were habanos, and he said that he was getting an ammonia flavor from both.
Oh, that's
of them.
just not. They're just not well aged.
That's kind of what I was saying. Is that he just needs to find something better.
We just came out of a boom of cigars, and the manufacturers are now getting back into aging the cigars post roll. But we were lucky to be getting cigars that were 30 days old based on box stamps. It's like you get the shipment, you see the box stamp, and it's like this was rolled at the beginning of this month, and here it is the last day of the month. That's not enough time.
Yeah.
Luckily, Two Guys buys in such bulk that we typically order before we need to, and we're not out of the last run, so there's some extra time that the cigar can kind of degas a little bit. So that's ammonia it's a known issue with a majority of the manufacturers that just don't have the time to sit on those cigars after they're rolled.
I told him that he needed to find some other Habano cigars to try. You know, the Crux Habano that I was just talking about, I think that's a good one. But I recommended the Perdomo Habano line. I smoke the Sungrown in that all the time, but you know, obviously there's the Connecticut and Maduro versions as well. So, you know, I told him that those would probably be better Habano experiences than
they'll
the Remington.
Be better. And even if price is an issue, which the 2 cigars he's mentioning were more than likely lower price cigars, you can go with a Perdomo Fresco Sungrown.
Yeah.
And it's dynamite for them. It's like $4 a cigar.
Exactly.
So there's something in Perdomo for everybody. And you just have to do a little digging. But he ages his tobacco properly, he works it properly. Even the wrappers, he puts through an additional fermentation. All of his wrappers are bourbon barrel aged, so that not just the BBA ones, all of them. So the color gets more even, and you get an extra fermentation sometimes too, and they're just smoother. I can't promise you like the flavor, but I can promise they're going to draw and they're going to burn, and you're not going to get ammonia.
There you go. And that's what he was complaining about was the ammonia. So there we go.
Cheap cigars, there's a reason why they're cheap.
That's kind of
I
exactly
don't mean inexpensive. I mean cheap. There's a reason why cheap cigars are cheap cigars, and they're not putting the time in the aging of the tobacco, really working it. They're not buying particularly textured tobaccos, mostly low priming because it's inexpensive. They're going to make a cheap cigar. They're getting inexpensive tobacco. The lower on the plant you go, the less you can ferment because you lose to the tobacco thinning out as it ferments. So they just do a rush fermentation. They speed it up, which if you listen to the show with Eduardo Fernandez, he made an allusion to, and I said it out loud, the addition of other things in the water that they use to process the tobacco. It's called platooning. So if you use citric acid, you can speed, lemon juice, lime juice, orange juice. You can speed up the heating process and get through the fermentation quicker and release most of the ammonia but there's still enough in there that once you break the stem structure of the tobacco by making the accordion, you release more ammonia into the chamber. Without degassing, the smoker's they're gonna feel it.
For sure. Oh, and the Charter El Cabano. That's another one that I really like. And that one is affordable.
It is.
That one's not, I mean,
Although we just recently switched production, and we have not received any of the new ones yet. So,
okay.
He was with Aganorsa on that, and now has changed over to AJ Fernandez, and so we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Noted. Well, and then where can people follow you?
I am back on Facebook, so Jonathan, Mr. J Barbeau on Facebook. Send me a message though that you heard me on the Cigar Pulpit or on the Cigar Authority, because I'm not one of those people looking to collect friends. I'm into dancing. I'm into cigars. I want real people. And so if you hear me on a podcast and you send me a message with the friend request, I will accept it every time. No message, I'm going to look through your profile. If it looks suspect at all, I'm out. So you got to send the message.
That's a good way of doing it.
I'm also on the MeWe's, and we have a very active group, the Cigar Authority group on the MeWe platform. I'm also on X and on YouTube. Just follow Mr. Jonathan, and I do mostly dance review videos, but there's been some manly videos that I've thrown in there. And when I get an idea or a concept, I do some stuff.
You gonna do a video talking about adding your mulching kit to your mower?
If I ever get this, I'm not sure how to get the deck back on. I don't think there was
Oh.
so many fucking pieces to take off, but the only way to get the blades off is either jack it up, and I don't have a jack high enough, or take the deck off. So I took the deck off, and hopefully
I thought I
can
saw
get
on
it back on.
Facebook Marketplace that Oliver Nouveau just posted a maybe like a 4-wheeler or ATV jack for sale. So you might want to reach out to Oliver. He might have a jack you can borrow for a minute.
Send him a text.
I'm just saying. Yeah, but kind of odd that I saw that. But I guess when one of your friends posts something for sale, I guess it shows it to you. I'm just like, I don't think I'm going all the way to Massachusetts to buy a jack, but whatever.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Well, final thought on are you still smoking that same JFR?
No, I switched over. I got a new one.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm down to this on my sungrown firecracker here, and I'm like thinking, damn, that is a slow smoking firecracker you've got. But okay.
No, the ones that you had today smoke a little faster. They have exceptional draws. The burn line's great. Those are truly a great 30, 35-minute cigar. Maybe you could stretch it to 45 minutes. So don't buy the JFR Lunatic Firecracker if you're looking for a quick smoke, because it burns for an hour. And I'm a fast smoker, so you could, if you're a slow smoker, you can get an hour and a half. One of my guys got an hour and 40.
Holy shit.
Very slow smoker. Never relit. Just puffs very slowly. So
that's impressive. I mean, I need to probably think about training myself to smoke a little slower, just so that I can get a little bit more out of it. Because I mean, shit, man, you can burn through a cigar pretty quick, and that's just that much money that you've just burned through. Real quick before I let you go, you mentioned that you smoke the Robustos in. You were talking. I think it was the Garofalo. You'd mentioned that you smoke Robustos. I may have asked you this before, and if I did, I apologize. I can't remember. But like in retail, do you find yourself smoking smaller sizes so you can smoke more things regularly?
Yes. I like to bounce around and have different flavors, even though I return to certain ones. I smoke the Macalif of Toro often because it is better than the Robusto. It's not the extra dollar or anything. It's just, for me, it performs better than the Robusto. And there's more flavor changes, but mostly I smoke Robusto size, 4.5 inches, even a Rothschild, Coronas, so that I can have more flavors on my palate over the course of 8 hours, because I'm there for 8 hours. So I may as well be smoking for 8 hours. And it gives me a chance to be able to talk up different cigars to the customers, because that's what I'm smoking.
Well, I was going to say, it lets you bounce around the humidor more and be able to try different things. So, okay, interesting.
Yeah, when
All
new
right.
batches of something come in, I want to try it right away. When a new cigar comes in, I have to try it right away. So I tend to go toward the Robusto. If they can make a Robusto perform well, then they're going to do well on the rest of the sizes.
Well, there we go. All right then. Well, cool. Well, Mr. Jonathan, thank you so much for taking time out. I appreciate it as always.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for the invite.
This has been great. So, well, guys, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick.
And I'm Mr. Jonathan.
Everybody stay safe and stay smoky. And that's bonerific.
So if you were going to wear a thong, what color would it be?
You know, probably I'd say leopard print. If you're gonna go for it big. You know,
I think I'd go lace.
oh, lace. Okay,
White lace.
I remember seeing one back in this is fucking forever ago. This is 20-something years ago when I was working in the mall, and Fredericks of Hollywood was on the floor above the video store that I worked at. And one day I'm kind of strolling around, and they had in their front window a display of men's thongs, and the front of it, the bag, it looked like a chicken, and it was like, you know, the neck and head of the chicken. And I was always amused at that. I always thought that was really funny.
You get your freak on, big guy.
I mean, you know, that, or you could get the elephant, or you get the elephant trunk out the front. I mean, you could get creative with the animal thongs if you wanted to.
All right, I have an embarrassing story to tell you.
So, why not? All right. I was going to say your girlfriend ought to be showing Bluey to the dogs, by the way.
Bluey. All right.
It's a cartoon on Disney, and supposedly the color pattern in Bluey is one that
the dogs can't. Yeah, they can't see the TV. It's just on for.
But apparently, with Bluey, dogs can see that color pattern, and so they'll watch Bluey. I don't know.
So my dad's top drawer had his harmonica that we used to like to play.
Oh, God.
He had a host of knives in there, and so we would just sneak into his room and go through his drawer and play the harmonica, whatever. And so I see this mask.
Oh, no.
In the shape of an elephant, and I put it on, and I come out, and I'm dancing around with the mask on, and my dad sees it and spits out his water and goes,
I almost just spit out my coffee.
In my top drawer. You don't even know what that is. I go, it's a funny mask. And he goes, no, it's a jock strap, and it was in the shape of an elephant. He goes, that's not for you. That's for playtime with Mama and I. We'll put it back because you just put your face where my balls go. And I was like, damn it.
Now we know the point in your history when it all just got weird.
Oh, it's been weird for a long time, buddy.
I love it. Well, thank you.
My pleasure.